Numbers can be added to find a sum. So if you're looking for a sum, those numbers have been added together, or subtracted to find a difference. These are important mathematical words. You get a difference when you subtract two numbers, and you get a sum when you add them. So if we had 22 tickets, child tickets and 13 adult tickets, the sum of that number is 22 plus 13, which we can probably work out in our heads, is 35. This is found using addition. So to find the difference between the number of child tickets and adult tickets is 22 minus 13. That's 9. And notice I took the smaller number from the bigger one because the difference is going to be positive unless you're told otherwise. That's how far apart they are. So some of the strategies we can use for mental arithmetic, so we can do this really fast, is we can use partitioning. And this is where we take out the hundreds and add them together, 200 plus 100, the tens, so 40 plus 20, and the units are the ones, and that gives us our answer. So that would give us 340, 67, plus 1 is 8. Then another thing we do is really interesting. We can compensate. So it's a form of rounding where we take this number, if we're adding 29, well, let's add 30 because I can do that first part in my head really easily, but then I've got to account for that one that I added on. So I'm adding 29 and then I add another one. In the end, I'm going to have to take it away. So in this case, 322 minus 40, I'm going to take off, because it's at the front end here, 2, and subtract 320 minus 40, which is something I can do in my head, but then I need to stick those 2 back on. So I think we're doing this all the time when we're adding or subtracting 9, for example. We'll think of it in 10, and then we'll add on or take away that 1 that we borrowed. You can also look at doubling and halving. So within these two numbers, there's the same number. So 35 is in both of them. So I have two 35s, and this 37 just has a couple extra ones that we need to work out. I know 35 times 2, and I can add 2 to that. For this one, I've actually got 120 in there, but it's in here 2 times. So this one is double to that one already. So I know that if I took one of those 120s away, I'm going to be left with just one of the 120s. And look here. So look at 123 here. I can represent 1 minus 123 by minus 20 and taking away another 3. So I'm going further left on my number line, which takes me to 117 because I'm subtracting from a positive number. You can use an algorithm. An algorithm is just how we were taught to line things on top of each other and add and subtract, and this is where we borrow from the columns next door. And I'll show you that an example of that here. So evaluate the difference of this sum mentally. Well, for this one, I'm going to think of 347 minus a much friendlier number of 40, and then there's that one to take care of. But the question is, am I going to take away that one, or am I going to add that one? So if I'm on my timeline, here's 0, and I'm on minus 39. If I go to minus 40, I took another one away, 40. So in order to spring back to where I came from, I need to add that one. So in this case, because I'm changing that number, different than when we were up here and we just separated the minus 3 out of it, I'm actually estimating and changing that number. I have to add that back in. And that will work out to be 307 plus 1, which is 308. So if you're not sure whether it should be plus or minus, do it, try it. 307 plus 1, and then go back and use a calculator or use your algorithm to test and see what that is, but that'll be your right answer. For this one, we've got doubling and halving going on. So this has 125, and this has 125 plus another 2. So I'm going to have 2 times 125, and I'm going to add my 2 on there. 125 twice is 250, plus 2 equals 252. Oops. Again, check it with a calculator to make sure that you've got it right. There's no shame in checking it with a calculator, especially when you're in an exam. So for this one, we're going to just add the columns up. 8 plus 7 gives me 15, is it? Yes, 15. So I carry that one, and then I do 3, 4, 5. So I've taken that extra one that's now in the tens columns with me. And 9 plus 2 is 11. Lining them up as best I can. And so here, again, I've got to borrow 1 from over here. So now I've got 11 minus 6, which is 5. And now I've essentially got, because of this 1 here, I've got 13 minus 8, which is 55.